Thank you, Captain Smart and MC. I greet all of you, but I want to acknowledge Nana Chairman. Nana Chairman Omahene of Asikado, who, as many of you know, his uncle was a dear ally and friend of our dear father, Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. And he helped a lot in the independence struggle and beyond. So it is just that he's our chairman for this occasion. Honorable Minister of Tourism, Honorable Gomashi, our big sister, thank you for gracing the occasion and coming to be with us to celebrate Osagyefo. All the ministers who've made an effort to be here, the list is long, but we love all of you who made an effort to be here. All our deputy ministers who made an effort to be here, including our MP for Jomoro, my sister Dorcas, all former ministers and deputy ministers like our sister Catherine, former MP for Evalwa Juira. Thank you for your support. Our kings and queens, Nananum, Awolai and Nananum, Nana of Nkroful, Abu Swapeni of the Nkrumah family, in Nkroful, in Hafasini, thank you. Thank you for your support. All heads of institutions, MCEs, DCEs, thank you for being here. Now I'm reserving special thanks to my brother, Kofi Amabor, Minister of Lands and Mineral Resources, for insisting that I come here to be with you this year. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for bringing the Nkrumah family here. God willing, next year we will be more in number. And I want to assure you that the family, the Kwame Nkrumah Foundation, which we will launch next year, is very happy to work with you and everybody who wants to promote and champion the good ideas and the vision of our dear father, Kwame Nkrumah. And you know why it's important to commemorate him, his life. It's important to tell his story, to keep on telling it over and over again. Before I tell you why, I must confess that just like Professor Akenya before me, I too was so impressed by the Gonja performance that the sound of gunshots took me back many years ago to a not so good day, but not in a bad day, not in a bad way, I mean. So I want to tell you a very little story, something that happened on 24th of February, 1966. By the time Osagyefo's family, our mother and the three of my siblings, the three of us, I mean, by the time we reached Cairo at the end of the day, we took refuge in Egypt. Our father had reached China, and when he knew we were settled, he wanted to call us, so he called us. He called us by phone, and he spoke to each and every one of us. And even though he had received a big blow, the illegal overthrow of his government had just taken place, He wanted to comfort us. He spoke to us one by one, our mother and the three of us, the children. And I remember what he told me. I will never forget it. When it was my turn, he said, Yaba, Yaba. He always called me Yaba. He never called me anything else. He said, Yaba, I do not want you to be afraid. Yaba, I want you to be strong. I don't want you to be afraid. And I took this to heart. I thought he had seen me crying the whole day because I was afraid of the guns. But no, he had a deeper message for us. What he was telling us, his family, his followers, his people, that we must not be afraid of telling his story. We must not be afraid of upholding his vision, because Kwame Nkrumah's story is Ghana's success story that must happen. And before I continue, I just want to thank the President Mahama, and the government of Ghana for reinstating, for restoring 21st of September rather, as Founders' Day. And I know Osagyefo's birthday, and I know that the time will come when the whole of Ghana is going to unite behind Kwame Nkrumah's vision for us.
Ghana, your beloved country is free forever.
Yes, indeed. We are free to uphold his vision. Now, I was saying that it's important to tell his story because his story is Ghana's success story that must be. Ghana's success story that must be is all contained in his writings, in his policies, in his books, which we must all work together to make available to the younger generation everywhere in Africa and everywhere where Africans are, all over the world. Those books, those writings, those speeches contain the secret to our success. The industrialization plan we heard others talk about, producing everything we need right here in Ghana.
Freedom.
Using our technology, using our indigenous knowledge system, our African knowledge in medicine, in politics even, in everything we do. And working hard with other African countries, never alone, other African countries to build our industries, to build our infrastructure. So, Kwame Nkrumah's story is the story of a great Ghana. And I'm grateful to all of you here who've gathered to hear it again and again, and to support NkrumahFest, and to make sure that we never forget that this great leader came from humble beginnings, from a beautiful village that has the potential to change the whole of Africa.
Freedom.
So may God bless you,
Freedom.
and may our ancestors, may Almighty God and our ancestors direct you and continue to give you the strength to follow in his footsteps. Thank you very much. Mesdames, Oninia, Asti. Mesdames, Asti.
Freedom.
Mesdames, Asti, Pale.
And the land they settle upon is African land belonging to Africans.
Thank you.
Whether they were there or not upon the
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, yo mo sumaniala. Yeah,
Mame,
Samia, Yaba,
Nkrumah. I'm ready to know. Yada niyama nebe tumrika kakra.
Yeba dumrika echi, yeba ngandichi.
Na afei, akasa foni na awia.
Adenda vumane, anza adendalane amwana awia.
Akasa foni na awia.
Yeba riyagichi.
Wọ́n bẹ ká poem mọ́mọ́ bọ̀ ọmọ mo ntena se home.
Wọ́n mọ̀mọ́ ẹ̀bá do ejeke dwan
NAS cultural group no so mo ntena se mo home.
Ake
NAS mo bẹ ba.
Egore divumane
bẹ̀dẹ̀ yẹ du yìí yẹn fa nsẹ̀mbọ̀ ẹ̀nhyia yẹ maame.
Yẹn fa ẹsẹ̀ ní bọ́lá bi yẹ kún yẹ yíya yẹ mú àná yẹ maame.
Yàdìyẹ yìí
Yẹdẹ bèbí yà la.
Honourable. Mama Gan. I say, Mama Gan, ya mama kese. Into the drew one, Mama Menden, why you do?
Mama Gan.
Apply Jifa Minister for Tourism, Culture.
Nana Chairman, very, very distinguished Nananum. Nana Chairman, I want to appeal to you to permit me to stand on the existing protocols, because indeed it's a long one. I am so happy and so sad at the same time. I'm happy because I have the opportunity today to join you to celebrate the journey to Nkroful in the year that His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has returned as President of our Republic. I'm sad because as a people, we have deviated from the journey on which this great man set us, so we can call ourselves a great nation. Nana Chairman, it is an honor and a privilege to be here today, standing on this sacred ground, where Osagyefo Dr.Kwame Nkrumah first opened his eyes to the world. This is where he said the first words in his mother tongue. As we celebrate NkrumahFest 2025, christened Journey to Nkroful by the visionary presidents of our time, President John Dramani Mahama, the echoes of Dr. Nkrumah's history, courage, struggle, and vision are carried by our young people, artists, communities reverberate. Nana Chairman, all the people who have spoken before me have spoken such deep words of gratitude. It is good, but it is not enough. Nana Chairman, the thought of Osagyefo reverberates the man who believed freedom must be followed by dignity, self-reliance, education, and unity. The architect of Ghana's independence in 1957, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, led our nation, the first sub-Saharan African country, to break free from colonial bondage. He believed in Pan-Africanism, the notion that the liberation of Ghana should lead to the emancipation of other African nations. Where have we gone from that time today? How far have we come? Are we still positioning our country to lead? Are we still determined to take our destiny into our own hands as Ghanaians? I will leave each of us to ponder over these questions and answer them with a clear conscience and determination to reset our mindset and our love for Ghana. The list of things that he did are a sign of deep love for state. They are a sign of deep love for nation. What are you and I positioning ourselves to do for this country? Osagyefo saw the need to invest in education because it is a foundational stone for the survival and development of the continent and for poor people like I, or like me. The manifestation of this noble idea was the establishment of many educational institutions
including Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi, the University of Ghana, where shall I pause now to celebrate him for setting up the Institute of African Studies, my alma mater, and the School of Performing Arts, where I cut my teeth. He believed not only in academia, he believed in the power of our culture. He never turned his back on his culture. He celebrated it and set up an institution that encouraged us to study who we are and to promote the African personality. You all know the story of UCC and how it gave us our first female vice president of the Republic of Ghana, Professor Jane Nopokwajiman, who served at university as vice chancellor. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we walk once more upon the sacred ground and make the pilgrimage to Nkroful, we recall history, touching the living spirit of Dr. Nkrumah, and hopefully that we immerse in his vision of dignity, identity, and passion for a truly united Africa. In this very humble birthplace of the man of the millennium, the cradle where the seed of greatness was born, we must reconnect with our roots and his dreams. We must gather here often in songs and dance, stories and speeches, and feel the drum speak with ancestral memory, carrying us beyond the moment into the soul of a people bound together by history, sacrifice, and the unbroken call of destiny. Ladies and gentlemen, today's Durbar should serve as a bridge that reminds us of Dr. Nkrumah's belief that culture is a fertile soil from which a nation draws its strength, and that our songs, ritual, dance forms, folklore, languages are not ornaments, but the very heart of our identity as Ghanaians and as Africans. In honor of this great legacy, therefore, we at the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts and our agencies have taken deliberate steps to ensure that the preservation, promotion, and development of our culture and heritage are not an afterthought, but the bedrock of our national development. Sites like the birthplace of Dr. Nkrumah in Nkroful must not fade into history, but must be preserved, nurtured, and celebrated as living monuments that continue to inspire, educate, and unite us throughout the year. I'm happy to see the indigents of Nzamaland in high and low places all come together to claim the rightful place in the story of Ghana and our Osagyefo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I want to thank all the people who have supported Honorable Amako Fibua, my very beloved brother, in this journey. In the spirit of remembrance and celebration, we are grateful to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for his decision to reinstitute the Founders' Day in honor of Dr. Nkrumah. This act of leadership restores our national consciousness and positions Osagyefo as a torchbearer of Ghana's independence as well as Africa's liberation, ensuring that generations to come will remember and celebrate his immense contribution to the emancipation of the African continent. In celebration of that, we will, in the month of October, as a Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, be celebrating the Afro Gastro Festival, inviting all Africans to share in our food culture, and our diplomatic community are invited. They have assured us of participation, and I throw the invitation to all of you as well. Nana Chairman, Nananum, distinguished elders, ladies and gentlemen, the celebration of this Durbar should charge all Ghanaians with a sacred responsibility to keep alive the ideals of which Dr. Kwame Nkrumah lived and labored. The idea of education for every Ghanaian child to rise on the wings of knowledge. The idea of self-reliance for our destiny to be shaped by our own hands. Together, walking this journey. The idea of unity for Ghana and Africa is to stand tall, strong, shoulder to shoulder, as one people, and I urge you to join in that struggle. Very, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this celebration must become a national one. It should not be left in the hands of the people of Nkrumah alone. It should not be left in the hands of my brother Kofi Boa, who has given everything he has to make this happen for the 5th time. This must be on the calendar of the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. And we must ensure that it is not cleanable. It should not be cleaned. We know what happened to the attempt to retell our story, the history that we learned in school. There was an attempt to change it. That should not happen to this celebration. I urge all of us Ghanaians, for once, let us stand together and defend what is right. Being afraid is not part of the story of Kwame Nkrumah. If he wasn't afraid of the colonialists, why are we afraid of each other today? That even when our story is being retold, not as the truth, we sit down and watch. May our story change from today to be one that defends our country. Ghana belongs to all of us. May the life of Osagyefo Dr. Nkrumah inspire us to rise higher, to dream greater, and to build bolder. Long live Osagyefo, long live Ghana, long live Africa, united and free. Thank you, and God bless our homeland Ghana and make it great and strong. Akpanami, thank you very much.
Inti nyimpa yete nenka sisi aya honorable Mamaga Ablajifa Gomeshi oye Minister of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts na osan eye MP war K2 South na ono na watu nando de Nkrumah o mudana oye politician is a nansono na oyaza odo culture papa Ghana amanyosam na Ghana amambresam no ohia na papa into no hunda da membri ya hia nyina ya hye mo ha yerekeni uma yenka yehu bom na yentum na yenko share the vision na oyo Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah awards Ghana no yentum na yenko share echi into no honorable Jifa Gomeshi enye na yete nka wo honom na nsa no no baba kasa no yaza Osagyefo na ba SAMIA Nkrumah nso obakase na ite ne kase ma itumi hu do yaza na why emotional kakra nenwa agiye papa obache no story o chuma o say empono mbribi na papa wotu ne freedom no on nyane mame na nunu anu mabie na waka no ho gama Nkrumah no nyiseku wotum na wogwane nya baby ikoshe no won papa from one nyi one ba se ne nyina ra kase na odu no do no na papa ka chwa ne de mama na kuma into na da mombre no na adwenya ne de na onye no reka de mama na kuma into de bi obi baba he won bibi da time no na so no nde oye panyin no what the masa no papa ekesho no ase what ase the son and sama na papa anyi no reka no na mu ye dru papa de obi baba oye no kwala wonyim afa na papa no ho ne contribution a obeba ye e wo Ghana ha dey no nyimpa bi no mu worinjintum wo baji ho achinje into no da mo bedu a on sala na akoma to cross do gina na do na otum ogina na okaza na papa otum eye na obo na papa no boma osom hunda room obiara otum tse into no SAMIA Nkrumah na yezin kan yeta na nkwa wo honom no ochema yembra together yembom ye kan ye humbom na yentum na yemba share na papa ne vision na owo ma mangana do mangana abotum na watu puna wakona nyimo no echi
his citation
described honorable Jifa Gomeshi so ne zo baba kai fa creative art industry no so odu baby no chirem pa de ohunda da mujumezi area we hede no on sada oyo jumezi bia ye reason no ende pe na ye reason won Nkroful ha nkote na mbom no jumezi osada otum na okọ Nkroful do Ghana nyinara no baby ara no odu da membri a yetum ye jumezi bi na yetum na yeze Osagyefo the great Dr. Kwame Nkrumah nizen no enyimnyam ya kekeza obeba ye mahen ya ke ya so ya hu ye Kenya ya hu de Hiano Sono, Yawasuzibi, Dianodo, they able to not Yako, as they Aji Ghana, Esi Honum, never Pajuma, Sumo Baba Yano, Yatuna Yatuado, as a Ghana man, the Aqua Chile, baby, Sonko. Tino ya gudara wa NkrumahFest 25 and when you are gudara every share or hade no ngana phone pay for our say na Nkroful man in the mamani nyinara atna say na yaro jonjon Osagyefo Dr.Kwame Nkrumah no boy awesome hen home and Juma or Baba Ye or Ghana had
Come to the microphone.
Lawyer. You could I table
Free Paul.
Your table to no Sierrano. Oh, yeah, lawyer. I'm not chair from Paul. No, your keynote speaker on Chebiara or Bototonano, Yankatano.
Nana Chairman. Nananom and all others, because I'm standing on the existing protocol. I'm very happy for this opportunity to be called upon to participate in this program. 2 days ago, when I was decorated as, and that's what the citation said, the greatest Nkrumah in Ghana, I immediately remembered my brother, Honorable Amabua, and what he has done for Nzema land and for all Nkrumahs. Because we all know that until after the 2024 election, it was not easy for you to identify as an Nkrumahist. He was in the opposition, but he was able to lay the foundation upon which today we are building this edifice. Then we go to Madam Gomashi. Last year I was with her here, and the promises she gave us are bearing fruit. Let us also thank the chief of Nkroful. He's somebody who personally likes me, and wherever I go, I remember him. And then the chairman is somebody who is dyed in the wool Nkrumahs. And then the president of Ghana, who assured us last year at the same place that he was going to make the journey to Nkroful a national issue. I can keep talking, but I can't forget Captain Smart. He was the one who brought me to the National 4, because every now and then he would invite me to Onuya TV, ask me questions about Kwame Nkrumah. And so if today the planners decided to bring me here, then I owe it largely to Captain Smart.
Onuya Machio, ye Captain Smart. Oh, ja.
Well, Captain Smart said something about me. Let me say something about myself. 1985, I was a lower CES student at Secondary St. John's School. And I was so poor, I didn't have money. My father, meanwhile, was a very rich person in Kumasi. I came home, met my mother at Princess Town. And then I said to her in Nzema that because you followed somebody's husband, that is why today I'm in trouble. If the man had been your own husband, look at how rich my father is. I would have been staying in Kumasi, and then I would be like any other student. I eat gari morning, afternoon, evening, all because of the mistake you made. My mother looked at me for a while, shook her head, and said, I have rather blessed you. What you don't know, and I'm telling you today, I won't repeat it anyway. I met this young Ashanti soldier at home, and he looked like a twin brother of Nkrumah. And I said to myself that if God will give Ghana another Kwame Nkrumah, it should be bred in my own womb. And that was the reason why, to cut a long story short, you were born. Don't people tell you that you look like Nkrumah? I said, yes. So I consciously did that. And one day, you will do Kwame Nkrumah's work. So, Honorable, I'm happy you've given me the opportunity to do Kwame Nkrumah's work. I'm also happy to say that my mother is dead at 90. She's going to be buried on 27th September, Kwame Nkrumah's month. Honorable, I thank you very much. I thank you very much. Now I'm inviting everybody, especially those here, to Princess Town, 27th September, Saturday. Okay. Now let me do the work you asked me to do. And the work is that I should talk very briefly, just about 10 minutes, of the impact Kwame Nkrumah made. Let me start from the Nzema people. You see, for a period of 350 years, Africans, ever since the construction of the Elmina Castle in 1481, 1482, thereabout, were shipped on the Atlantic to Europe and the Americas. We lost about 45 million souls. So for that period, until the abolition of slavery in about 1807, all that the black man knew was enslavement and being a slave to the white man. And what was known of the black man was the fact that he was just a chattel. It was only one boy who was sent to Germany, given education, and he rose to become a professor of philosophy in 4 leading German universities. That man was an Nzema man called Anton William Amo. And at the time that he was delivering his first dissertation, given the title, The Role or the Function of Black People in Europe, the Chancellor of the University of Wittenberg, Professor Ludwig, described Amo as a black star because he was the only black man who could do what white people were doing. Many years later, Marcus Garvey would study Amo and begin to dream that one day all black people in America will go back to Africa in a ship called the Black Star. Kwame Nkrumah had an opportunity of going to the US to study. So more or less he became a student of Marcus Garvey and got to know the concept of the Black Star. When he came to Britain in 1945, he entered the British Museum and for the first time studied the theses and other works of Anton William Amo. And so when Madame Theodosia Oko was commissioned to do Ghana's flag, Nkrumah left the middle one for himself, and that was the Black Star. So when you see the Black Star in the middle of Ghana's flag, please, you the people of Western region, you the people of Nzemaland, don't worry too much that you have not had much development, but at least it is the remembrance, the memory of your own son, your soul, your blood. That is the Black Star, Anton William Amo. Now, we talk about Ghana. What did Nkrumah do for Ghana? The local ones, everybody know. But it was Nkrumah who put Ghana's name on the world map because he was the first black person to have been a world leader. He was within the inner circle of Queen Elizabeth's advisors. The American president knew him as a world leader. In fact, it was in the field of performing his functions as a world leader that his government was overthrown. And because he was a world leader, it was easier for Kwame Nkrumah to nominate his foreign affairs minister, Dr. Ales Kwesi Saki, to the UN, because he said to them that there must be a black person to head one of your commissions, if not the assemblies. And so the first black person to have become the president of the United Nations General Assembly was a Ghanaian, Dr. Ales Kwesi Saki. And the man worked so profoundly well that many years later, during Rawlings' era, when it became necessary for Africa to produce a United Nations Secretary General, We all know that Tanzania put up that famous African diplomat, Salim Ahmed Salim. And then all the French-speaking countries came after the Ivorian foreign minister, Amara Essi. And France, being a member of the UN Security Council, the permanent members, said that we want somebody who speaks fluent French. We would reject one who speaks only academic French. So it became almost impossible for Kofi Annan to be selected. But I tell you that the British and the American and Russian and Chinese governments came together and drawing inspirations from the fact that Nkrumah was a world leader. Nyerere was not. Alex Kwesi had chaired the UN General Assembly before. Therefore, it was appropriate to give the nod to Mr. Kofi Annan. So that was the seed Nkrumah sowed. Above all else, we know that Ghana was among the few countries that an American president would visit. Yes, President Clinton came here. He spoke Twi, and he laid a wreath on the grave of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, all because of his indelible leadership role. And we also know that when the first black person, Obama, became the president of America, this man, that Kenyan Arab, Ali Mazrui, when Ali Mazrui, that Kenyan Arab scholar, was interviewed, that why do you think Obama would visit Ghana instead of his homeland, Kenya, or a famous country such as South Africa, or the most populous country in Africa, Nigeria? Then Ali Mazrui answered, even though he was an opponent of Nkrumah, that Obama would have made the greatest historical error if he had decided to visit any country first but Ghana. Then they asked him why. He said because Ghana is the Mecca of African liberation. So he had to go there. And then in his own speech, President Obama quoted Kwame Nkrumah's speech, independence speech, which I must say that is about the best extempore independence speech delivered anywhere in the world. Yes, such a brilliant speech. He never looked at anything, and it's about the best in the world. He said that Kwame Nkrumah dreamt of a free Africa, of an Africa that could champion the world, of an Africa that would manage its own affairs. And today, I am here as the fulfillment of the dream of Kwame Nkrumah. So these are some of the things that Kwame Nkrumah did for the country, Ghana. That is not all. Let us talk about what Kwame Nkrumah did for Africa. Many of you have not adverted your attention to the fact that it was Kwame Nkrumah who gave this continent its geographical definition. Before Ghana had its independence, almost every North African country, apart from Algeria, was already independent. Then Liberia put together as a colony or a country of free slaves, 7 before us. And in order to steal Egypt from Africa, the portion that North Africa had itself, up to Israel, Palestine, was defined in geography or in world politics as the Middle East. The white people were very sad to see Egypt becoming part of black Africa. And so they hurriedly defined Ghana as the first independent country of Africa, forgetting the North. Why? Because civilization began in Egypt. The Greeks, named them Aristotle, Herodotus, they went to Egypt to study. And the famous Greek leader, Alexander the Great, went to Egypt, and that's why a famous city is named after him in Egypt. And then the Romans also learned from Egypt. Julius Caesar went to Egypt, and that was where he met Cleopatra. After that, it became a norm that everyone who wanted to become a world leader would have to associate with Egypt. Even Jesus Christ was associated with Egypt because God told his father, Joseph, that send the child to Egypt. Otherwise, Herod will kill him. Everybody wanted to be part of Egypt. The greatest soldier in history, Napoleon Bonaparte, went to Egypt and fought the battle of the pyramids. He did a very dangerous thing there. Wherever he found a statue, a human statue, he ordered his soldiers to climb it and chop off the nose. Why? The nose was always flat, depicting the fact that the civilization was a black civilization. And in order to hide it from that, as Napoleon ensured that every human statue he came across in Egypt should have the nose slashed. We also know that Hitler fought the Battle of the Nile because he wanted to be a world leader. He wanted to conquer the Nile. He wanted to baptize himself in Egypt. So therefore, Egypt was about lost to Africa. And then Kwame Nkrumah, who had trained initially to become a theologian, a priest, and knew the Bible very well,